Hey guys, it's Erica from Artsi. So this is the follow-up video from the live unboxing I did today from CreativeHub.io, which is a dropshipper and print-on-demand service provider for artworks. So Facebook Live, as far as I can tell, I can't share my screen and also share my camera. So the first part I did live on video where I walked you guys through and actually showed you what it looked like, how it came packaged, all the details, and kind of my experience. And then with this video, I just want to record. I'm not going to go into like super in-depth every step to use CreativeHub. That can be a future training that I do, but I do want to kind of give you guys a behind the scenes peek at some details about them. And that way you can check them out if you'd like to. So I'm on their website, creativehub.io. There's information in here about their site. They've got a good FAQ section that includes showing you the different types of art prints and details about like their process. I mentioned in my video that there's a discrepancy right now between pricing, and that pricing is one of the concerns that I have. I think that the pricing is fine as far as being able to make good margins as an artist selling prints, but my concern is more that it's obvious to me what they have here. If you look at these plans, this is what's showing on their website right now, the features of what you get for each package and the pricing. You'll notice later on when we log in, I'm going to show you the subscription page there. All of the pricing has gone up, and all of the features in each thing have been defeatured. So it's like you get less good things, which makes me feel like they're still figuring out their pricing model and strategy, which is very common for newer startups, because it's like you do what you think is the right pricing, and then you start to realize like, shoot, like we totally underpriced that, or it's way too expensive to give free postage to everyone or whatever. So I don't blame them at all for having to make pricing adjustments, but the fact that this was a pricing adjustment, and then I mentioned I started on the 6th, and already within 3 weeks I got an email saying that there was price increases. They did include, I think that to offset it, they changed it. Before it was like you could only get free shipping up to like a certain amount of drop ships. I think it was like 20, which you'll see on the other one. And I think they've gone back to now doing free drop shipping in the UK and Europe on all things. So that's good if you have a lot of customers there. But their prices went up. And so my one that was $10.54 became $16 with the price hike. So I think that eventually that will stabilize, but it's just something important to know that whenever you depend on someone else to be your supplier, being able to trust or kind of have a good idea of where your prices are, you don't want to be stuck in a position where you build a whole business around this supplier and then their pricing is so volatile that, you know, every month they're changing it, and they eventually get priced to a point that it doesn't make sense for your model. So just something to keep in mind. So hop around, look at that. I'm going to go ahead and log in to my account. So all you're going to do is, actually, I guess I am already logged in. Let me go back to that home page. So when you log into an account, you're just going to set one up, and you'll come to a screen that looks like this. So they've set this up. You can tell they're kind of trying to tick several different boxes for artists. So the primary function for us is going to be about drop shipping art, but they have other functionality in here that, depending on how you do art as an artist, where like you can collaborate on files with other people. They have like portfolio pages where you can feature your own art in like a gallery. You can actually like send email links and share your files, like your high quality print files through it. So there's lots of different options here. Primary thing you're going to want here is to drop ship your art prints. And then up here in the account button, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You can see this takes you into like the main hub where you're going to put your files that you want to drop ship. If you have projects, again, that's where like you're collaborating on things. So mainly you're going to live here in this files section. And then from your account, you're going to be here in this art store. So those are the two main places that you're going to go as a drop shipper in here. I do want to see when I click this where it takes me. Pretty much back to the same place. So all that button is doing is taking me straight into files, which was in that other screen. So you can see here, I've dropped, several different files in here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, I'm trying to think if any of these are not set up, and I think a few of them are not. So let's go ahead and let's try this one. Or maybe this one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to grab a couple because I want to show you guys a couple different things. So you can multi-select. So you can see I selected this one, and when I come here, it gives me options. Do I want to send this file? Do I want to order prints of this file? So if I had already set this up, like some of my other ones that are on there, you can just directly order your prints to fulfill an order. Do I want to edit it? If you edit, this is where you can change your name. For the creator, you can set up multiple different artist profiles. So, and I've seen some people that are doing AI art, and I kind of like this idea that they have several different stores or several different accounts that they are selling AI art under. And so like if you look on Instagram, like there's one account, for example, where I think their account name is something like Vision in Pink or something, and everything that they're doing is pink themed, and so it's like, so if let's say you wanted to create like a AI artist shop or an account where it's themed like that, you could set one up underneath that name, but then you can also underneath the same account set up other artists. So you could have a name for that shop and a signature for that shop. You can have a different one. So you could select who your creator is here. You can put tags, a description. You can load in logos. And so if you're going to do a limited edition, you select which logo you want on your limited edition thing. And then, so that was done editing. So we went back in there. So here's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to select multiple options here. Okay. And then from here, we're going to say sell as print. So that's how you're going to do your drop shipping. So we're going to do sell as print. And then this is what it looks like to set up your drop shipping options in here. So you can see here, it's coming in, it's telling me how big. So this is a 12,000 by 12,000 pixel picture. It's recommending to me what's the largest I should go in offering this as a print, which is nice. So I know I can go up to 60 to 60. You can click view shipping costs, and I am curious because I can't remember if they increased this or not. It used to be $9 flat for the US. Yeah, so it is still flat. So that's kind of nice. So it's flat for your prints. And I'm pretty sure it says this, but I'm almost certain, and this might be another one where their website is just not updated yet, but that email that I got from them, I am like 99% certain that it said they were offering free shipping to like UK and Europe. So I'll verify that, but I think everywhere else it's, depending on whether or not you're the euro, pound, or US dollars, it has your rates here. Okay, so from here you can choose what sort of print do you want, and then what sort of paper do you want to use. So the one that you guys saw in the video today was this Canson gloss. They have, and I'll put it again in the links in the comments, but they have a really nice page that will show you kind of an example of a print on each one. They also have where I think it's maybe like $7, and they'll send you a sample pack so that you can check all the different types to choose which one you want. From here, once we add in some variations, these will give you the option to then do certificates if it is a limited edition. So this is where we can start to add our variants of what sizes do we want to sell this square print in. So I'll come in here. It's going to show my picture. And then this is if I wanted to do a framed print. or if I want this square to be printed on an A4 or an A3 or an A2. So their framed options only come in those European sized things. So for me, because it's a square, I'm going to keep it as a custom size. It's going to default and it knows that it's a square. So it's saying it's a 40 by 40 inch. And I'm going to go ahead and start with like a 5 by 5. And then I like this option too, to where you can do a border. And this might take me a second. Last time I had trouble. Yeah, it was fixing the size is what so 5 by 5, fix the size. So that was something I had to play around with before. If you want to have a consistent border, there you go. You fix your size and then you can do your border and then everything turns out good. So I couldn't do like a 2.5, or 0.25. So I did 0.2 on my small ones. And then once it got up to like, I think like a 12 inch, I went up to 0.3. So it's like right in between being a 0.25. So a 1/4 inch border around it. And then this shows me that 4.6 inches will be my printed space. So I like that. And then here's where I was talking about before, that you can do this exact same option, to where I can say all other images that I had selected that have the same aspect ratio, that I want the same setting to be applied. So I can do that here. For now, I'm going to leave that unchecked because I'm going to show you at the end, there'll be an option for me to just take everything that I select and apply it to all of the pictures. So I've done my 5 by 5 from here. Now I can come in again and I can do, an 8 by 8. I'm not going to do a bunch of these. So I'm going to fix my size. I'm going to take that up to a 2 by 2. I'm going to save that. Okay, and then I'll do one more for now. Then I'll go ahead and do a 40 by 40. And we'll do that. And then in this one, I'm going to go up to I don't want an inch, I want 0.3. Okay, I'm going to save that. So, and if you watched the video earlier, you saw there was like a nice little white border around it. That's what that setting is doing. So now what you can see is this is showing me how much they're going to charge for this. And this price is before your shipping. And then for me, at least, I like to price my stuff so that I can offer free shipping. People like free shipping. So I know that $9 is how much it's going to cost, potentially, at most. I might get the benefit of free if they happen to be in the UK or Europe. But so $9 worth of shipping. So that's going to bring my cost basically up to 18. So from here, you can choose how much margin you want to put on it. There's a lot of discussion. That could be a whole different discussion we have on pricing, but that can range from, you want to do like a 40% markup, which is like typical in retail, or 50% markup, which at that case, would be adding another $9 onto the price. So we'd be at about $27. Or you could just double the price. Some people like to just double whatever your material cost is, and then you double it. And then sometimes some people, like really, especially like as you become more known, or if your stuff is in demand, or you do a limited option, like a limited run, that stuff all can improve the costs, or you can demand more money for it. But so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say, $27. So this is saying you're going to make 18, but then you need to mentally remember, if you're going to do free shipping, another 9 of that would go towards that. One of the other things you want to keep in mind too is your other costs. So a good rule of thumb, it'll end up being a little bit less, but with Artsi, assuming that you're on just like the free standard account, assume that roughly about 10%. So 10% of that would be $1.84. But you're going to pay 6.5% is our fee. That we charge once it sells. And then you're also going to pay, there's the payment processor that the person pays through. So like WooCommerce does our payment processing, which a lot of that happens through Stripe. Some people might choose to use PayPal. It's roughly around 3%. There's a little bit of variation in there to where they charge a flat fee plus the 2.9%. So it'll be roughly about 3%. So you figure 6.5% from us, 3% from them, that's 9.5%. To keep it easy, just assume 10. If you're on one of the paid tiered subscriptions that we have, so we have a premium vendor and a VIP vendor, those our charge goes down from 6.5% to 5.5% to 4.5%. So as those go down, then you can factor in a slightly less amount for your commission that's paid when you sell on the platform. So just keep those costs in mind. So when you're thinking through your cost, it's, you know, what you're going to pay here to them, what you're going to pay in shipping, and then what you're going to pay for your payment processing and your, and that payment processing is also to send the money. So like we're going to collect the money and there's payment processing, but then we're also going to send that money to you where there's payment processing. So those payment processors are making sure they're going to get their money. And then, so take that out. So then here's where you can mark if you want it to be sold as an edition. So you can go ahead and say, yep, I want to sell this as a limited edition. And you can see here, this is where it's doing different series letters. So this is, you can have the choice to say, I'm going to sell 100 of these that are 5x5s and 100 of these that are 8x8s and 100 that are 40x40. You can change this number to anything that you want. So you could do 10 prints or you could do 1,000 prints. So whatever you want your limited edition to be. The more limited it is, usually the more money people charge because there's only that amount available. When you do a limited edition, you should not turn around then and sell that print otherwise, other than within your limited run, at least as it exists in the version that you're selling there. And then for these editions, you can choose to either, so when it says ABC, that means each one is its own limited run, or you could choose, and if we say these are all series A, what that means is you're only going to sell 100 of it, and it doesn't matter what size people select it in. So if everybody buys a 5x5 and 100 of them sell, then that is a sold out limited edition regardless of what people bought it at. So that's kind of a nice way for you to be able to have some control over that. And then here's where those certificates of authenticity are. So you saw the one that I showed you, which was this free one. So the one in the video today was the free. It has here where you can see a sample. And I'll show you, I haven't gone to the settings yet, but in the settings is where it's going to grab the artist and a signature and a logo. And so it kind of just gives you a generic example of what that's going to look like. But they have these other ones that if you want to pay extra, you can have these other designs. So I'm going to show you like this minimalist one. And then you can do an example and you can see how this one looks different. So that's one. And what's funny to me, so here's part of why I selected the one that I did. And I don't know if it's just that their samples don't show it, but to me, none of these other ones have the hologram and the embossed seal. And it's like, and to me, that's part of what made it really neat. Like I like the design, like I really like the design of that one, but it's like, but I want the hologram and the embossed seal. And at least on here, I'm not seeing it. But when we look at the classic, it shows it on there. I'm pretty sure it does. Oh, maybe it doesn't. There we go. It's because it says right here that they emboss and affix it here on the certificate. So maybe the other ones do. Maybe the other ones do. And so if that's the case, I do really like that modern looking one. I think that was the one I was looking at. No, that's a different one. So that's, I guess, an unknown. That's a question mark for me at this point. I don't know where or if they put that holographic seal, but they have all these other different designs. So if you want to switch the design, you can. Maybe it was sorry, now I'm like looking for the one that I liked. I don't know where it was. Maybe it was that traditional one. I thought it looked pretty modern, not traditional. No, that's not. It must have been this typewriter one. I don't know why it's called typewriter. Yeah, that was it. I don't know why that's called typewriter, but so anyway, so you could choose one of these if you want to do a different design but I thought the free one was pretty good, and it saves you $3 from your cost. So you can go ahead and say the classic free one. And then here's where you can upload, and I'll show you in the settings, but you can upload letters. And so you can have letters to the buyer. What's nice about this too is that if someone buys multiple prints from you, as long as it's in the same order, it will only charge you once for one letter. So it knows to only print the letter once and only send it once. So if they order 10 things from you, they'll get one letter and you'll only be charged once, not one for every time. So you select your letter. If you want a letter to go with, the letter also costs extra. So there's that. Although I don't see that they put the price on here. There it is. So yeah, so it is $2.75 for each unique letter sent. So that's another charge, but it is a nice touch. And I do think that you can do color. So that one's my example one. But I've seen some on their site where they're full color. So I think you can just, anything that's a PDF, that's A4. All right, so when we are done with this, what I wanted to show you was, is this, I may have lied earlier. I thought that I could have swore there was an option down here for me to check and say, make everything the same for all the variants, but I am not seeing that now. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. You've made changes, go to your store, re-import. Okay, so it's save my variants, that's fine. Okay, so all I'm gonna do here is say, I had to make a slight change to my save button, but I'm checking that box to say, do the same thing for all of the variants. There you go. And then this is where you can select. So it already is automatically selecting all the images that apply. So that's where earlier when I had to select multiple things. And so now if I hit save, if we go into one of these other ones, oh, it's still saving. It's going to pull that variant information, and it includes all the details of it, like being a limited edition and all of that over, which is really nice. It's still thinking. Here we go. Okay. So now you can see it's done the exact same thing. And so it looks like it only made me do it once on one of the variants. Before, I swear it used to be down here, but that's fine. So if it's in one of those things and you've multi-selected and you want your pricing to be consistent, one thing I just noticed too, though, is I only changed my pricing on this one. And so you want to go through, put in all your variants, put in all your pricing, and then go ahead and push it to everything once you have everything the way you want it. Now, one thing you do have to change is, it loses the letter for whatever reason. My guess is, so I used the free one, so it was staying defaulted to free, but my guess is probably if you select a different one, you probably also want to double check on all your ones that it pushed to make sure that it has the certificate that you want. But here you would need to go re-add your letter if you want a letter, and then hit save, and then that will save that option. So once you do that, then you have this option ready to go to where you can then come place print orders on any of these, and you would just select, which one of these orders. And so you can even mark, so as you're managing your how many limited editions you have, you can come in here and you can manage that if you're manually fulfilling versus, so like this can link to Etsy, for example. And if that happens, it's going to auto fulfill. So it will pick up the order from Etsy, it will fulfill it, ship it, and it will keep track in here. If you were to come in here, it would give the date and it would tell you that it was sold because it automatically is doing that through integration. But if you're manually doing it, you just want to make sure that you're managing your edition and marking off as you sell your limited editions that those are done. All right, so I'm going to close out of this, and then I'm going to show you here in the settings. I want to show you where you set up your art store stuff. So we're going to go here into the art store, and this is where brand settings, so you can give it a name, an email, you can upload your logo. The logo is what's going to show on your print package. It's what's going to show on your certificate. So whatever logo you want there, you can put there. You can select an artist name. And I'm pretty sure there was an option. Yeah, so you can do more than one artist. So one of the things I'd mentioned before about, pluses and minuses of the thing is that for the most part, this site is pretty easy to use, but there is some stuff that's not super intuitive. So like where you saw that within one variation, I checked a box and said, push it. And then it took all variations and moved it to everything. So there's stuff like that like you kind of have to use it to figure out how it works. And it's not necessarily super clear. So like this one's another one where there's not a really obvious place of how to add a secondary artist, where I had mentioned before you could do multiple profiles. But if you click here, then you can do add new. And then you can actually set up multiple profiles, and then you can choose who your default is. So for now, I just have this one, but you can upload a signature. You can put the name, how you want it to show up on here. Then you can preview your certificate, see what it looks like with the signature and the name in here. This is where you can do branded packaging. So again, they charge extra. So it's almost $4 extra for them to do either a circle or a rectangle print. And again, I'll attach a link down below where they have on their site an example to show you what that actually looks like. But that is the version I showed you in the video is free, and it showed up on the label. So to me, it's like, why would I spend $4 more to like put another sticker on it? But if you wanted to, you could choose. They give you the sizes and dimensions. You upload it and turn it on. This is where you'd upload a letter. The letter's $275. It's an A4. They want it in a PDF. So you do that stuff, and then everything's ready for you in your shop there. This is where you can set up your payment settings. So if you're going to do any like linked or integrated sort of sales, like direct to Etsy, for example, or to your website, they're going to want you to put payment on file because they're going to charge you as they pull in orders. Fulfillment settings. So again, that's where you can choose how fulfillment's going to work. Store fulfillment will actually show you. So I'll show you the order that I did. This is another thing that's not super counter or super intuitive, is you would think that when you click on this, that it would just load orders that have been fulfilled. Instead, it won't show anything until you fill out the search form, and the search form starts on today. So you have to go backwards to like whatever date you want to start with, and then hit search, and then it will show you. So here's my order here that shows you when, that's kind of interesting because I didn't pay $13.29. That's the new price. I was noticing that in one of the things. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. That may just be like on their website end. But this shows you this. You can click in here to see your order details. You can download the information if you want an invoice. Your product list takes you into your list of products that you have. This is where you can push products or export them directly to Etsy or WooCommerce. And that's in this integration section. And then here's the places that they integrate with currently. So you can directly connect to your Etsy shop. You can directly connect to a WordPress website that uses WooCommerce, a Wix website, a Squarespace website, or a Shopify website. So you have that option to directly push and pull. So that's what I had connected Artsi. But right now it's limited to where basically only the admin can authorize it. And it's not set up to be able, like the way how Etsy is, to where it's like it would push and pull and understand that it's coming from like your shop as a vendor. So that's something where we would have to build out that integration with them if we're going to directly integrate, which that may be where we head. But like I said, I want to make sure that this is something that we like as far as the services that they provide before we commit to doing that sort of thing. And so that's the integration, and then that's how it gets fulfilled. So that's kind of the back end. With the integration, it was very easy to set it up. You know, you basically just put in your link, and then it just asks you to like sign in and verify and give them permission to speak. So their integrations are good. The challenge that I did have with it though is here underneath the product list. It doesn't just automatically grab your stuff and send it. You have to come in and you have to tell it. So like if I wanted to push this, you know, let's say I was done with this and ready and I want to push this to my Etsy store, I have to select which ones I want done and then select to import it, or I have to do it, you know, one by one. And whenever I've tried to do a batch, so like if I were to load in like 10 products and want to like send the batch of products, a lot of times it fails. Like it's too much for it to try and import it once. So instead you have to, for me at least, I'm having to go through like just doing 1 or 2 products at a time and then push. So if you're doing a small volume, that's fine. But if you wanted in your head, you're thinking about just, you know, creating a ton of listings and being able to easily push them, that experience did not work very well for me as far as pushing and pulling through integration. And then the one other thing too was in loading files. So this is the other part that I feel like is a little counterintuitive, is that, you know, for the most part, you're working here in this art store, but the art store starts with the files and the file section is not within the art store. So you have to like start over here in files and load your files. And then once you have a picture that you want, that's one of the other things too, is that you can't click on a file and have the option show up over here. You have to actually click this check mark, and then the option is here to sell as a print. And then you have to click on the icon. Like it's very specific. But you have to sell as a print in order to push it over to your art store to then get ready to then put all your settings on it. So that, again, it's just like not super user intuitive, but it's not terrible either. It's just a learning curve a little bit. So with the files, that was the one other thing that I found. Why do I not see an option? Give me one sec. There you go. Upload is over here. So on the upload, if you're doing a large file, so like for me, these were 12,000 by 12,000 pixels that are like 300 DPI. So very high quality images. If you go to do those, I had some. So one, it took a really long time to upload it onto the site. So basically you should just plan to like upload and go do something else or work on something else on your site and just let it do its thing in the background. But I had a few occasionally that would just fail. And so it's like I keep coming in and it wasn't there. And then it took a really long time. There was like a delay before it would finally tell me like, whoops, like we can't upload it. So I had a few issues with that, but it was small. It was just a few of them. And they're huge files. So I understand that. Last part. I feel like it's a little rambly, but I'm just trying to kind of give you guys a behind the scenes here. So last part is this subscription thing. So this is where I was talking about things are different depending on, this is where, again, a lot of your settings are underneath here. But you can see, here's the free version. You get 10 gigs of storage, and what you saw underneath my files, huge files, but I'm already up to half of my gig space used. So if I wanted to continue to use them and I want to sell a large amount of prints, then at this point, I'm going to have to either start adding terabytes, which 1 terabyte of storage is a lot, up to $12 a month to do a terabyte of storage. And then this has information about what comes with that, or this drop shipping option, which is pretty nice as far as like the details that you get with the drop shipping. The big difference between that is it's unclear to me, but I don't think that this pro version does like the white labeled drop shipping part. And so if it's really important to you to have that white labeled drop shipping experience, you're going to want to look at this annual plan in order to have the larger amount of storage. Okay, so that's that. And then the last thing that I was going to show you guys, I'm pulling it up here on another screen real quick if I can, is I just wanted to show you I would have pre-planned this a little bit better, I would have had I think this is what I ordered it under. Oops. Yeah, or I thought it was Shippo, but it's not. It's Shippy Pro. I probably am going to have to cut that out because I realized that it had my address in it. And then, so yeah, so that is just kind of a general overview of how CreativeHub works. So feel free to check it out, test it out, use that code if you decide to fulfill or test an order to get 50% off your first order. And if you guys have questions, let me know. All right. And I'll put this down in the comments along with links to some of those other resources. And hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you have questions, feel free to ask me in the comments and I will be monitoring that and respond. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.